There are moments in the history of science when silence becomes louder than any explosion. And this is exactly one of those moments. It wasn't a comet, asteroid, or dying star that triggered the alarm. It was silence itself. Orbiting nearly 1 million miles from Earth, the James Webb Space Telescope, scanning deeper into the universe than any instrument before it, was focusing on a sector of space once thought completely empty, a lifeless void between galaxies, simply a blind spot on the cosmic map. But what it discovered there shattered everything we believed. In the darkest part of the cosmos, the telescope detected a shadow, one that neither reflected nor emitted light. It was devouring it. Then something even stranger happened. That darkness moved, slowly, deliberately, almost as if it was aware that it was being observed. What James Webb recorded next forced astrophysicists, cosmologists, and mathematicians to abandon known models of reality. This was no comet, no pulsar, no black hole. It was something else. Something that thinks, something that reacts, perhaps something that remembers. This is the story of what James Webb uncovered in the deep, an object so terrifying in behavior, so unnatural in physics, that scientists quietly whisper the unthinkable. What if it's not from our universe at all? It all began during a deep field survey near the Aerodana supervoid, a vast, almost mythical region of space known for mysterious cold spots and unusually low galaxy density. While calibrating infrared sensors for a galaxy mapping project, the James Webb Space Telescope picked up something that didn't fit. An anomaly too symmetrical to be natural, yet too chaotic to be artificial. Instead of distant galaxies or swirling interstellar gas, the telescope detected a perfect circle of silence. No light escaped, no light bent around it. This wasn't gravitational lensing. It was more like a tear in the very fabric of the universe. Imagine dropping ink into still water, but instead of spreading, the water itself vanishes. That's what the data showed. A region not just devoid of matter, but devoid of physical law. Early theories suggested a new kind of black hole, but the numbers didn't add up. There was no X-ray emission, no gravitational ripples, just a cold, dark stillness that defied all understanding. Then, over days, the edge of the object began to fluctuate, not like a celestial body in orbit, but like something breathing. Scientists from multiple institutions rushed to analyze the strange light echoes surrounding the anomaly. And what they found was more unsettling than any black hole or supernova. The flickers of distorted light weren't random. They followed a sequence, precise intervals matching prime numbers. First 2, then 3, 5, 7, 11. It was as if the object wasn't just there. It was signaling. But signaling what? And to whom? The signal wasn't electromagnetic. It wasn't radio, infrared, gamma, or any known wave. Instead, it was a disruption in space-time itself. Webb's most sensitive gyroscopes recorded microscopic shifts perfectly timed with each signal burst, as if something was nudging reality's very structure at its core. This anomaly didn't just break astrophysics rules, it mocked them. Mathematicians and quantum physicists pored over the data, reaching a shocking conclusion. These weren't natural pulses, they were intentional fingerprints. No known celestial object behaves this way, not quasars, dark matter clumps, or rogue planets. The precision was surgical, the rhythm unmistakably artificial. Some even believe this might not be a signal from something alive, but something aware. Then came the moment no one saw coming. 27 days after the initial detection, during a follow-up observation, the James Webb team recorded movement. But this wasn't drifting through space like a comet or speeding like a ship. The object blinked, strobing from one location to another, as if it skipped across dimensions rather than traveled through them. Its new position was just 0.004 degrees off from where it had been. Imperceptible to the human eye, but catastrophic to scientists' calculations. Because this meant it wasn't bound by the speed of light. It wasn't even bound by time. The only known parallel is quantum entanglement, particles reacting instantly over vast distances. But this wasn't subatomic. This was a moon-sized structure behaving like classical physics were suggestions, not laws. When simulations mapped its movement, a spiral pattern emerged, one pointing inward, directly toward Earth. By the 4th month of analysis, the team stopped asking if the object was dangerous. Instead, they asked if it was thinking. Around the anomaly, geometric patterns began stabilizing into fractal formations, self-replicating shapes that echoed biological systems. Not like bones or organs, but neural pathways. The longer the telescope stared, the more the patterns evolved, adapting to the sensor's orientation and correcting themselves in real time, almost as if the object was adjusting to being observed. Scientists coined this behavior responsive geometry. Some even speculated the object could be a dimensional antenna, or worse, a living construct designed not to travel but to anchor itself in place, waiting. One AI model trained for alien pattern recognition was fed the telescope's data, and it broke. It froze, looped, and finally returned a single word in its error log: recognized. The message was chilling. This wasn't a discovery, it was a reply. Weeks passed, and as the James Webb team captured more data, they noticed something else: a subtle background radiation shift in the surrounding field. At first nearly imperceptible, it began emerging in sync with the object's pulses, but delayed, like an echo. Spectral analysis revealed harmonic layers that shouldn't be there. Frequencies arranged not by random stellar emissions, but in nested intervals reminiscent of musical chords. Some scientists called it the Song of the Void. Others were less poetic. A signal this precise is almost impossible to generate without deliberate design. Not chaotic stellar activity, but engineered patterns. More unnerving, these waveform harmonics weren't stable. They reacted slightly to the telescope's position, suggesting the signal wasn't passive. It was interactive, watching, measuring, echoing back as if the object wasn't just broadcasting, but listening. Behind the scenes, panic quietly grew. A team of theoretical mathematicians was called in to decode the numerical structure within the pulses. That's when everything shifted. Hidden in the signal's timing was a mathematical constant that doesn't appear naturally in cosmic phenomena, the lemur prime spiral. This pattern, a configuration of prime numbers arranged in a spiral, has long puzzled number theorists for its strange resonance with nature. But here it was, repeated exactly in the intervals between the anomaly's distortions. Some scientists believed it might be a universal language, a kind of mathematical Rosetta Stone, a calling card, or worse, an identifier. If something or someone planted this signature, it meant they understood the deepest structures of our reality. And then came the moment that deepened the fear. When the sequence was plotted in 3 dimensions, it formed a complex helix, almost identical to the double helix of human DNA. Coincidence? Maybe. But when scientists ran the numbers, the timing intervals in the pulses matched genetic codons used in our biology. Something wasn't just watching. Something understood what it was watching. And maybe it knew us long before we ever saw it. Then the silence started. Publicly available web data streams began to delay. Access logs at research observatories vanished. Key scientists involved in the anomaly's study started stepping away. Press releases from space agencies went from enthusiastic transparency to vague, evasive statements. Insiders leaked that emergency meetings were called, not just NASA and ESA, but private companies like Blue Origin and SpaceX. Not because the object was an immediate threat, but because no one could confirm it wasn't already here. Theories multiplied. Was this a probe? A sentry? A warning beacon? The timing itself sent chills down spines. The object appeared only after we built instruments capable of detecting it, meaning it either always existed, cloaked from conventional tools, or it had only just arrived. Adding to the mystery, deep space probes launched decades ago, Voyager, New Horizons, had passed near this region without detecting anything unusual. Either the object was invisible to earlier instruments, or it simply wasn't there before. Then came the final act, silent but monumental. On the 48th day of focused observation, just before the telescope was set to move on, something changed. The anomaly's signature vanished. No pulses, no distortions, only static. But before that silence could settle, Webb's sensors captured one last image. An infrared composite unlike anything ever seen. It wasn't a shadow. It wasn't a distortion. It was a shape. Symmetrical, angular, perfectly proportioned, like a sigil floating in space. This image lasted only 3 frames, too brief to decode fully. But artificial intelligence analysis confirmed the structure was not random. It was geometric, composed of nested triangles, circles, and lines forming a recursive pattern. And then it disappeared. Since then, nothing has reappeared. But the data remains, the silence remains. And perhaps the most terrifying thought, whatever this was, whatever it is, it didn't leave. It simply stopped letting us see it. So what did James Webb really see out there? A silent watcher lurking in the cosmic dark? A signal meant for those advanced or foolish enough to notice? Or maybe it was just a glitch, a ripple in reality we were never meant to decode. The terrifying truth is this: the deeper we stare into the void, the more the void seems to stare back. What we once believed was empty space is starting to look like a mirror, reflecting something on the other side. And maybe, just maybe, something there has finally noticed us staring. This discovery isn't just about space anymore. It's about something far beyond our understanding. It's about what we're not ready to face. It's about the possibility that we've triggered a conversation with an intelligence that doesn't use language as we know it, but geometry, rhythm, and silence. And the worst part? We still don't know if it's trying to communicate or if it's trying to warn us. One thing is certain: James Webb didn't just capture data, it opened a door. And what waits behind that door could rewrite everything we thought we knew. Not just about the universe, but about ourselves. If this story made you question what's out there, or what might already be watching us, hit that like button, subscribe for more terrifying discoveries, and ring the bell so you never miss when the universe breaks its silence again. And I want to hear from you. What do you think is behind that door? Leave your theories and questions in the comments. Your ideas might just help us understand this cosmic mystery.